want to talk about something. There's been a theme this week around abandonment, rejection, loneliness, and separation. Separation stemming all of that. These things are breeding from separation. And I know why it's surfacing for me because it's one of my deep core wounds. And I know that many people also have suffered with this. In fact, like I was reading Brene Brown's book, Atlas of the Heart, and I was looking up the loneliness and all that centers around that. And she talks a lot about belonging and fitting in and what the differences are between those two things. And belonging is where you belong with another and you're accepted for all of you, individuality, authenticity, all parts of you. Where fitting in is you have to do something, you have to change something, you have to hide something about yourself in order to fit into the group. And many conversations I've had with people this week, and some that were so random that just popped up with this theme, I know this needs to be talked about, and it is talked about. It is talked about. A lot of people have been out there talking about this. I'm just going to share my 2 cents. Um, when we sit with what that means to us and how that shows up in our life, it breeds jealousy, it breeds envy, it breeds greed, it breeds judgment, guilt, shame, resentment, and grief. To feel not accepted by another person or not accepted by a group or a community or a society or a government or a country, it breeds such deep resentment in a person's heart. It can block out love within a person's heart, and it can make a person feel like love isn't safe. How many times have we abandoned our own self in order to fit in to a society, a group, a friendship, a relationship, whatever that may be? It is directly rooted in the relationships that we have with each other. How many times do we compare ourselves to others or have ourselves compared to other people, to societies, to systems, to everything? And then we're labeled when we don't fit in to that group. It's just a vicious cycle that keeps us divided. Schools get labeled, the kids, this starts at a baby, being born into this life, being separated from the mother, the creator of us. And being born into this life, we essentially are born into division. From the moment we come into this world, our parents are labeling us, putting expectations on us as babies, and comparing us to other people's children instead of accepting the uniqueness about ourselves. And then you have parents that are going to so-called experts and taking their information or standards that are put out there and as the norm. And if our children don't meet those standards, then they're labeled and the division is created. Our kids are going into schools and they're being labeled by the teachers and by the staff and by the system. And then we're also being labeled and judged by our peers. And then you go out into the world and you get a job or you go to college or whatever, and you're labeled and divided even more. And it just, even in, with the wars and stuff like that, you create this division across countries, societies, communities, families. They place boundaries up and they determine that the strong will survive and that the weak have to die. In schools for kids, the smart ones succeed and the challenged ones in the standardized view are the ones who are left behind and forgotten about and not supported. And there's so many different viewpoints and perspectives from so many different angles of people who are on this swing of that pendulum that are all justified and all understanding and all can be supported. But we don't do that. If someone disagrees with you and your viewpoint and your perspective about something, then there's judgment and there's shame that's projected out on somebody. If land is stolen from people, tribes, by outsiders, the strong survived and the weak did not. And things were taken from them, from us. And we have seen this for thousands of years. And it is the very thing that creates separation, division. It is the very thing that keeps us apart and doesn't allow us to see oneness, unity, support, love, acceptance, authenticity. It is absolutely heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking and enraging. And it's that righteous anger that people feel individually. And it's that righteous anger that creates boundaries within our individual lives that we put in place. And people are talking about that even now. And I'm not saying that boundaries aren't a good thing for people to feel safe. But why do you need to feel safe in the begin with? Because there's division, because people have projected, because people have harmed, because people choose to lead by their ego and lead by ignorance and choosing to turn a blind eye and choosing not to understand. And I'm, for one, absolutely sick and tired of it. Absolutely sick and tired of it. The very things in this world, and I'll speak for religion right now because that is one thing that has hit hard for me. I was raised Christian. My beliefs have changed over the years, but my love for God, source, creator, whatever you want to call him, is still the same. The teachings of what Jesus was trying to do, whatever storyline you want to use of that even, because people will argue about that, still rings very true in my heart of what he tried to teach us. We have to stop. We will never change. This world, this humanity, we will not evolve and grow into this connectedness, interconnectedness, unity of love and support of each other and acceptance of each other and the individuality and authenticity of each individual person within a group until we can choose to do that, until we choose to do that. I often talk out my feelings because it helps me process things. And oftentimes I'm taken the wrong way. People misunderstand what I'm saying or misconstrue what I'm saying or take what I have said as that is my truth, when most of the time I'm just talking out what I'm feeling, picking up, processing to get to what my truth is. And people who allow that space for me truly know that. Sorry, they're doing yard work outside. Anyway, I just wanted to share my thoughts about that. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who say things or may not listen to this video, and that's completely fine too. Love you guys.